Did you know that Jesus modeled the correct response to racism in John chapter 4? The story of the Samaritan woman at the well begins with Jesus leaving Judea for Galilee, but it says he had to go through Samaria. And that's important because Jews didn't go through Samaria because Jews and Samaritans didn't get along. In fact, in critical race theory terms, you might say that the Jews were the oppressors and the Samaritans were the oppressed. Actually, Samaria is part of modern-day Palestine, and so a lot of people today are saying exactly that. Basically, Samaria was on the wrong side of the tracks in Jesus' day. And while it was certainly faster to go through it, most Jews would walk around it, sometimes 40 miles around it. However, like everyone else, Samaritans were created by Jesus in his image. So Jesus confronts the sin and the absurdity of viewing them in any other way by ignoring the racism and honoring their humanity. Not only that, but Jewish men, and especially Jewish rabbis, did not speak to random women, let alone Samaritan women. Once again, Jesus ignores the cultural biases to honor the person. And if that weren't enough, the woman with whom Jesus chose to chat is a serial adulteress. Now, the Bible doesn't give a lot of detail, but I kind of get the impression that the disciples were just a little bit uncomfortable. Anyway, it's probably around noontime, and the woman is alone at the well. Anyone who's been in places where community wells are the norm knows that wells are a place of social gathering for women, very important places of gathering. The fact that this woman was alone in the heat of the day is a good indication that she was also an outcast within her own community. So what does Jesus do next? Well, he asks her for a drink of water. Big deal, right? Actually, it is a big deal. Jesus doesn't just pull up and announce that he's God and expect her to acknowledge it. Instead, he empowers her by showing her that she has something worth giving. Of course, she's incredulous that a Jewish rabbi is not only talking to her, but also asking her for a drink. After all, even she knows she's a piece of garbage, right? This time, Jesus bypasses the woman's own acknowledgement of the racist cultural paradigm and her low self-esteem. How? By ignoring it and pointing to what really matters. That would be the truth. If you knew the gift of God and who it is that is saying to you, "Give me a drink," you would have asked him, and he would have given you living water. That's not to say he feels sorry for her and is just going to let her off the hook. In fact, Jesus sets her up. "Hey, go call your husband," he says. "I don't have a husband." "You're right," he says. "In fact, you've had 5, and the guy that you're with now isn't even your husband." He doesn't yell at her, lambaste her, or call her names, but he also doesn't beat around the bush. He just calls a spade a spade. The point being that conviction needs the light of truth, not a bullhorn. Same principle applies to us as Christians today. Now, there's a lot more here, and you should read the whole story. But suffice it to say that the Samaritan woman became the very first recorded evangelist in history. I think that's pretty cool. Maranatha.